So, Terra types are the new mechanic coming to Scarlet and Violet, Gen 9 of Pokemon, and they might be a bigger problem than we once thought. I've got my buddy Justin with me, and we're here to talk about Terastallization. Justin, say hello.
What up, Zero? This is big. So, this is, insert Pterosaur here.
Pterosaur, yeah. We're gonna be clipping Pterosaur constantly screaming throughout the entirety of Gen 9, so just be ready for that.
Yep. We're talking about the Terraforms. Terrorize. Predacons move out.
Mm-hmm.
This is super awesome. This is the new gimmick. This is instead of Dynamax, so there's a lot to talk about here.
Yeah, there is. And
this is big, right? This is the new thing.
This is huge because we're getting more and more information as time goes on, and we'll probably revisit this subject, maybe in a full podcast, but for now...
Totally. Once we've actually got our hands on it, maybe.
Right, yeah. So we just wanted to, talk about what we know now, because there's actually a lot to talk about, because...
There is. We want to get the conversation going and get you guys ready, because I think the next podcast is going to be Gen 9 prep. So in line with that, that's why we're doing this over on Spotify. If you're listening here, go check us out on YouTube, or vice versa. If you're watching the video that Brandon's putting together, then go check out our Spotify, where we put up a podcast every other week. So next podcast will be the Gen 9 prep. So if you're competitive like us and you're wondering, all right, juicy details are coming out, there's some leak mons that we might have, you know what I mean? So
yeah. So
there's so much going on getting ready for Scarlet and Violet, and in light of that, here we are. This is the first step into that new competitive Gen 9 space, and I can't be more thrilled, Zero. This is going to be sweet. This is really, really a whole new world, as Aladdin says.
Yep, so we'll dive in. Just right before we do that, just want to remind you guys, leave a like, subscribe. Hopefully this is the video, this is the topic that gets you guys into the PMC. We'd love to have you. Drop a comment below if you're excited for Terastallization. So, let's talk about Terastallization now. What is it? Basically, it's the new mechanic, like Justin said, and it's with Gen 6 we had Megas, Gen 7 we had Z moves, and then Gen 8 we had Dynamax,
yep.
Gen 9 will have Terastallization. So what this does is it's a one use per battle mechanic. Any Pokemon can do it. It erases the current types that your Pokemon has and gives them a new one. And you'll be able to see what that type is in your Pokemon select screen. I will probably have an image to show you what that looks like.
Yeah, we mentioned on the podcast, it's super user friendly. It just shows you, blam, here's your regular typing and here's your Terra type. There you go.
Yeah, so they showed in one of the trailers that were showing off Terastallization that there was a Tyranitar and it turned into a Ghost Tyranitar, and a close combat from a Gallade whiffed, and then he hit him back with a Ghost move, which I believe was Terra Blast. And Terra Blast is a move that I think it's
our new hidden power, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's physical and or special. It just depends on what your highest attacking stat is, I believe.
Correct. It's how you EV'd it.
Yes. So you'll have Terra Blast. If your Pokemon doesn't have a stab, say there's a world where T-Tar didn't have a Ghost move, I think it might have Shadow Claw. You have this move now to give you a stab type boost for the Terra type that you have chosen, or the Terra type that your Pokemon has. So, Terra types can be found out in the wild in Gen 9. There will be glowing Pokemon, and you can have a battle with them. And I think the trailer
as you see on screen here with the Jigglypuff that they just showed off in one of the most recent trailers.
Yeah, and so that's one way to find Terra types, is you can go into the wild and you'll fight it. It'll be Terra boosted when you have the encounter, so that way you'll just know immediately, oh, this is a flying Terra type Jigglypuff. And then the other thing we know is that raid dens are going to come back. You can find special Terra type Pokemon in there. I think the Gardevoir in this.
Yeah, and they even look like the crystals.
Yes, yeah.
Just like a big giant crystal bush in the middle of the wild.
Yeah, I think the Gardevoir was a water type in the trailer inside.
Yeah. That should be on screen right now. As you can see, there's just a den. You walk inside. Oh, and there's a Gardevoir with the little water hat crystal thing, which we'll get into all the aesthetics.
So that's what we know about how those types are spread and determined. What we don't know is how to reliably get all types for all Pokemon, or if they or if they pass down through breeding. We don't know that yet either.
Yep, and we don't know. Maybe there's somebody in the game or something in the game where you can talk to them, or an item, or some sort of training, or whatever you do to change your Terra type. We have no idea.
So that's the broad overview of Terra types in general. So now we're going to talk about them competitively, because this is where things actually get really interesting. So here's
so what do they actually give us, Zero?
So here's what we know about them.
How do we use these things?
Offensively. It gives you a new stab and gives a large boost of damage to moves that a Pokemon's original type was when terrestrialized. So what I mean by that is, if you have a Fire Terra Infernape, that fire move whatever fire move it uses,
okay, Fire Punch, Iron Fist boosted,
it's going to get a massive damage increase.
So wait, you're telling me that I can have my Diddycar, my Infernape. I'm normally, Jolly max speed, max attack with Life Orb, and I've got Iron Fist, and I just basically run 4 attacks: Close Combat, Mach Punch, Fire Punch, and Thunder Punch. All punching moves, so all boosted.
Yes, and we will get into...
You're telling me that if I Terra type fighting, or Terra type fire, I'm double dipping in my boost?
Yes, and we'll get into why that's important here in a little bit.
I get stab and Terra boost?
Yes.
For being the original type, matching the Terra type.
And that's important because, say you are... It's different. Like, say you're a bug Pokemon, and then you Terra type into fire, and you use a fire move. It's not the same damage as a fire Pokemon with a fire type, Terra type, using a fire move.
Oh, yeah. So we get stab boost and Terra boost.
Yes.
I'm in.
And
let's go.
There's additional bonus on top of that as well, just because of the fact that you're a fire type using a fire Terra type. So we'll talk more about that and why that's important in a few minutes.
So I'm really interested in the defensive properties of this a little bit. Normally I play tanks. I'm always a little bit more of a defensive player. But I gotta say, seems like there's a lot of offensive potential here.
So defensively, here's what we know, and it's pretty cut and dry. It erases the types that you currently have and turns you into a monotype, and that was made evident by a Colossal in the trailer.
Yeah. So that on screen right here, as you can see, the Azu tries to hit it, and it's it's not very effective, which. That was our original signifier there.
It was not very effective. Yep. Sorry.
You're good.
Yeah.
That was our original sign that it was not adding on a third typing. It was actually erasing it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if you were to do the math, if it was fire and rock, so times 4 weak to water, if you just add water onto the calculation there as a third typing, it would still be times 2 super effective.
Right. So that was the giveaway right there.
Yep. So not very effective means he turned into pure water.
Yep. So, like I said, that's pretty much it. That's all there really is to know defensively about them.
That's really cool for Pokemon. Oh yeah, go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say actually you go ahead. You go.
Like for instance, if I'm using my boy Swampert, right? He's ground in water, so he's times 4 weak to grass. So you could potentially, in a clutch moment, maybe in a checkmate situation, Terra type to one of those two, or even ice, right?
Right, yeah. That's a great one.
But point is, you get rid of the times 4 weakness, so then you live the hit.
Yes, yeah, that's a really good point. You erase
your boy Dragonite. Yeah, he Terra types into just Dragon or Flying. Now he's not times 4 weak to that Ice Shard. He's only times 2, and he has multi-scale.
Exactly, and then defense. Well, I mean, I guess going to Terra type into Ice is never going to be good unless it's offensive. So, I guess that's one thing. But yeah. So we'll move on to what we don't know, and this is, there is a lot we don't know. But as far as mechanically in competitive, what we don't know is offensively. We don't know if you keep your original stabs when you're a Terra type. So, what we mean by that is if you're Dragonite, Flying, and Dragon, if you Terra type into Rock, do you still get a stab for your Dragon and Flying moves?
And right now, just for the record, my guess is that the answer is no. you
I would
get
think
only
so.
the one stab that you are the Terra type of.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's your type now. Just because that's how it works defensively when we saw the dude get hit by the water move.
Mm-hmm.
So I assume that that's offensively, too. It'll
Yep.
just be one type.
So now let's get into the meat and potatoes of why this is important and what this means competitively, because that's what we're here for, right? We're a competitive channel. Here's the point. The last Gen 9 trailer showed a massive damage output increase when a Pokemon uses a move that matches their Terra type, and that Terra type matches their original type, like we have said. So, Fire type, Infernape. You know, we got Infernape doing a Fire Terra type using a Fire move. Insane damage boost. So,
can you think of a Pokemon that, like, other than Infernape, you got to what's an example of a Pokemon that would be really, really good?
Okay.
Like using this type of combination where you're like, we'll call it for right now, double dipping. You get stab plus the Terra type.
Okay, I got a good one for you, okay? Follow me here, okay? Scizor with Technician and a Choice Band and Stab and Priority and the Steel Terra boost using Bullet Punch.
Oh my gosh, you would just destroy the world. Like, that's a checkmate. That's like, once if you get into a position where his counters are gone, it's instantly game over.
Like, if you've got like a Volcarona and you want to switch, like, you know, and say, you know, you can't really reliably switch in like a Volcarona on a Scizor at this point if that's your Terra type, right?
Yeah, you'll just blow through. Like, because it's priority, you won't be able to live too, is my guess.
Yeah, and it's just like there's so many damage things, like so many damage boosts going in your favor.
Yep.
You can't, like, the Volcarona user can't reliably just switch in to this.
That makes me think of a Hoenn rep.
Okay, lay it out.
Imagine adaptability boosted, Choice Band, Stab with a Water Terra type, Aqua Jet from my boy Crawdon.
Dude, you're just erasing everything that's dude, like, that's two-hit KO in the game. If you can hit them
for neutral damage, you one-shot everything. Neutral damage or better, you one-shot everything in the game from full health, basically.
Dude, or like two-shot a lot of like really big defensive Pokemon, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, like, I'm really interested to see that calculation right there that we just spoke about with Aqua Jet against a Corviknight.
Or a Skarmory.
Or a Skarmory. Yep.
Yeah. So, like,
that's insane. So, yeah, the priority is going to be massive here. Anybody that has a Stab priority move and then has the option to then Terra type to that exact type also and stack all this together instantly just went, like, you know, air quotes, up a tier in terms of, like, Smogon rating.
Right.
Which I guess that leads into
our next point. So, yeah, so this mechanic has created a massive imbalance on offense, or at least we're thinking it will, and it kind of got us to thinking that this mechanic has to be banned from Showdown formats, right?
There's no way they're gonna. If they didn't let Dynamax, there's no way they're gonna let this.
Right.
They always ban the wall breakers. They always ban things like Kyrem, and then Landorus goes up to 70+% win rate.
Well, Landorus is not going to be having a good time against that Crawdon that you just spelled out for us.
Even through the Intimidate, we don't care.
But, like, that's besides the point. Like, I think that this damage is a lot more egregious than some of the things that Dynamax introduced. Like, what do you think?
Yes, because of the direct correlation between Dynamax doing damage and then an enemy Dynamax has a lot of HP.
Right.
So, like, because we have also that defensive tool, whereas this one is a lot more lopsided. The scales are not even the way they were in Dynamax. There's no boosting.
No.
There was in Dynamax, so, like, there's no, you know, Steel Spike or Quake for physical or special defense.
Yep.
There's no airstreams for move speed to then have priority next turn and just sweep from there. There's no utility like that. So it's very heavily just balanced in favor of just find a stab, double dip. If you got priority, even better. And then build a team around just making sure that they can take care of the counters to that check.
Exactly. And then
you just blast everything off the board.
I like everything you said about the Dynamax. Like, you can't just face tank stab Terra boosted moves because you're doubling your HP. Like that doesn't exist anymore. So like, and it didn't exist for long in Showdown anyway, but like that will definitely not exist in this format or any, like even VGC.
Agree.
So early Gen 9 formats, I think using your Terra type offensively 90% of the time is going to be more effective than defensively, because you're just going for massive damage and just erasing things.
Absolutely. And like you said, you mentioned VGC, bro. Adding weather on top of it.
Oh my god, bro.
I'm very excited for Gen 9 VGC because that won't be banned there.
Right. Yeah, there's no way. Yeah, like,
because that's the thing. They don't do that.
Right. Like
VGC doesn't ban their own gimmick.
No.
They never have.
Well, I mean, they did for like 2 months in series.
Oh yeah, for like a stretch, sure.
Right, but like overall, it's going to be just like we had Dynamax in Gen 8. This is Terra types terrorizing Predacons.
Yeah,
here. This is going to be around for the World Championships, you know?
Yeah, so that's very, very cool. So yeah, using this mechanic offensively will seemingly be more optimal in early Gen 9 formats.
Yeah.
No Dynamax means there is no face tanking hits of Terra boosted stab moves. And, bro, these moves will become incredibly deadly in formats dominated by weather. Like I said, like there's no way around it.
Yeah, you're scaring me, dude. Like imagine water Terra boosted choice scarf, rain boosted water spouts from Kyogre whenever he eventually makes it into the game.
Yep.
That's gonna be the format. And you know, you could probably build your Kyogre tanky now, because you'll be like he's gonna have so much damage that you can afford now to build your Kyogre tanky just to assure that you get off an Origin Pulse. Like, an Origin Pulse alone is going to be crazy damage.
Using them mechanically defensively, I mean, that's probably going to benefit the Pokemon with, like, super poor defensive typings, like Scrafty, Tyranitar, maybe Latios, Latias, or like in a restricted format, like we just, did some runs with Kyurem White and Kyurem Black, so like an Ice Dragon, not a good defensive typing. So
like
unpredictability of defensive Terra type transformations will also lend to probable ban and Showdown. You know, it's just that like gotcha moment that they don't like anyways.
Yeah, which, that it doesn't feel good, especially like even online, like when you're battling on Wi-Fi, like those gotcha moments, when they get you with that, funny little combo that you'll never get beat by again. But like, imagine this kind of happening every single game when you're on Showdown and you play 20 games in let's say an hour and a half to 2 hour session, and you're just getting beat by this dude transformed his whatever into whatever, and that's why I lost. Like, I don't think that's necessarily like what they're looking for on Showdown, and I don't know if that's healthy either, honestly, for the game.
No, so the fact that this exists, I guess we should have said at the beginning of the show, but we'll say it now. Disclaimer. Big giant words across the screen. We'll have them in neon lights for you, because this is a VGC conversation. Like, Terra types won't exist in singles in terms of like Smogon. So this is a let me rephrase. This is a cartridge conversation. So this is like the 3v3 ladder and the VGC ladder. Yeah, like nothing is set in stone right now, but I think you and I both feel really good about the fact that, or the possibility / fact that this is not going to make it into Showdown formats. Yeah, this is a PMC like opinion. Everyone that we've talked to in the group behind closed doors, all of us masters at the table, we all agreed like there's no way this thing gets in. No, if it does, hey, we will owe you all a taco, and then we have that conversation there, and that's a really interesting world to live in. But I don't think it's probable. Yeah, so I think that kind of covers everything, man. I think this was a really good conversation, and I think we kind of got our points across. Like, we really wanted to have this conversation because we've seen some other content creators kind of getting onto this point, and it was something that I kind of mentioned immediately after the trailer, and then we kind of just sat on it and we're like, okay, we got to have this conversation. Yes. And it's worthwhile to have too. Like I said, like this is the first conversation in terms of like, if you want to get into, competitive Gen 9, this is the first step.
Exactly. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us for the conversation. Whether you enjoyed this conversation on Spotify or YouTube, we're happy to have you. Thank you very much. Please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment. What do you think about Terastallization? Until we see you guys again, my name is Zero.
And I'm Justin.
Council's adjourned.